No one cares about the children of Gaza, not even you. Every day you see heartbreaking photos and videos from Gaza. Hungry children waiting in line for food, living in tents. Many children have been killed in IDF bombings. No one can deny that. But the truth is that no one really cares about the children of Gaza. And I'm not saying this to provoke or to make people angry. I'm saying it because it is the uncomfortable truth. Every time I make a video about the Israeli Arab conflict, I get the same comments. I say that the Arabs rejected the partition plan multiple times and started wars. People respond, that doesn't justify killing children in Gaza. I mentioned that over 70% of Gazans support Hamas and support what happened on October 7th. People say that doesn't justify genocide. I'll show clips from Palestinian official media.
خلق للسعادة فأنت في نظري مشروع للشهادة وسلاحنا إسلامنا وذخيرتنا أبناؤنا فأنت يا بني مشروع للشهادة.
And they still say Israel is to blame. Children's suffering is the trump card, and that's why I'm making this video, to say the uncomfortable truth. No one actually cares about the children and women in Gaza. People use the children of Gaza as a weapon to attack Israel. And here is the proof. Let's say you really cared about children in the Middle East. If that were true, you would first care about the children in Yemen and Syria, the two countries where children have suffered the most in recent years. In both cases, the number of suffering children is 10 times higher than in Gaza. So where is the outrage? Where are the protests for the children of Yemen? I know, two wrongs don't make a right. I will get to that. But in Yemen, there is a real starvation. Thousands of children are dying, and no one cares. Students in American universities don't chant for them. Candace Owens doesn't post about them. Mahdi Hassan doesn't mention them. Why doesn't anyone care about the children of Yemen? I will tell you why. Because you can't blame Israel or the Jews for that. Am I wrong? Then correct me in the comments. Start your reply with, I don't care about the children of Yemen, but I really, really care about the children of Gaza because I will wait. And Syria, same thing. No serious protest has ever happened for the children of Syria. And now let's talk about the suffering of women, because it always comes together. Women and children. Not far from here, just a few kilometers away, there is a huge country called Egypt, home to 100 million people. Half of them are women, and over 80% of those women suffer the most barbaric abuse imaginable. They cut their... Yes. Where are you feminists? Where are you human rights activists who care about women in the Middle East? Why don't you say anything? Why don't you dare criticize Muslim society? Some will say I'm trying to change the subject, but I think it is a legitimate question. Why are you totally blind to the suffering of children in Yemen and Syria, but enraged only when it's about Gaza? But okay, let's say somehow your heart is especially connected to the children of Gaza. First of all, why lie? What do I mean? Take a look.
The UN now warning that 14,000 babies could die within 48 hours.
From the United Nations humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher, who has told the BBC that 14,000 babies could die in Gaza within the next 2 days.
The UN warning that as many as 14,000 babies could die in the next 48 hours.
This is what a modern blood libel looks like. It used to be Jews bake matzah with the blood of children. Today it is journalists in suits trying to find the most shocking headlines. Of course, 14,000 babies didn't die. Some papers apologized, but that doesn't matter. What people remember is that Jews kill babies. Here is another example. Look at this UNRWA post. Aya, a poor little girl. What can I say? only that she's from Syria. UNRWA, a UN agency, used a photo of a suffering Syrian child to smear Israel. UN Watch found a Palestinian ayah. Here's what she said about what she's learning in her UNRWA school, funded by the UN.
أنا اسمي آية مدرسة بنات مخيمة الكرم.
الأساس في المدرسة عن إسرائيل.
إنه نطخهم
طب أنت بتكره اليهود؟
كتير
ليش؟
لأنهم هم أدونا وهيك وإحنا ناخد حقنا منهم.
شو رأيك في الهجوم على إسرائيل في 7 أكتوبر والحرب اللي صارت بعديها؟ هل هذا الإشي مرتبط بحق العودة؟
عشان ناخد فلسطين وترجع لنا بلادنا.
في مكان اليهود في الأقصى؟
لا
فلسطين بين اليهود وبين الفلسطينيين؟
لا، إحنا هاي أرضنا.
شو بتعلمك المدرسة عن السلام؟
بتعلمنا إنه منحبش إسرائيل.
These are just two examples of how the UN cynically uses children. But they didn't invent it. The best and most extreme example of using children to attack Israel is Al Jazeera. I start my morning with Al Jazeera to see what Hamas is telling the world. And guess what? If you pause this video right now and go to Al Jazeera's website, I can guarantee you the main headline is about Israel. Think about that for a second. It's supposed to be a news site, right? So I shouldn't know what the next headline will be. But I do, because it is always about Israel. And they always use the suffering of children and women. Yemen will never be on the headlines. Neither will Syria. They drip-fed the words children and women, women and children, because that hits the emotions. According to Al Jazeera, Israel has never harmed a single Hamas terrorist. Since the war began, Israel has only killed civilians, women and children. Don't believe me? Go search their headlines from the past 2 years. According to them, Israel hasn't killed a single terrorist. Strange, isn't it? Notice that the criticism is always aimed at Israel, never at Hamas, never at the Arab world, not even Egypt. If the Arab world really cared about the suffering of Gazan children, they could pressure Egypt to help. For most of the war, Egypt has shared a border with Gaza. They could have sent aid, treated the wounded, helped the civilians. If Qatar, which funds Hamas with billions, gave some of that money to Egypt and Egypt helped the people of Gaza, things could be much better. But no one expects Arabs to help Arabs because the suffering of children doesn't actually matter to them. What matters is using that suffering to make Israel look bad. And now we come to the real reason children are suffering in Gaza: Hamas, and the support that Hamas has among the people of Gaza. Hamas isn't just a terror group that took over Gaza. Hamas is a part of global Islamic movement. And the majority of Gazans support their ideas. Here is the interesting part. Not only is Israel blamed, but all responsibility is removed from Hamas. Maybe, just maybe, Arabs also have some responsibility for their own faith. Just like Arab Muslim society is responsible for the killing in Yemen and the mass killing in Syria. Maybe the Arabs in Gaza are also responsible for their situation? If you blame Israel for everything wrong in the Middle East, you are not just anti-Israel, you're also being racist toward Arabs, because presenting Arabs as helpless victims with no control over their own actions, that's racism. I give them more credit than that. They choose violence in Yemen. They choose violence in Syria. They choose violence against women in Egypt. They choose violence over democracy. They choose to invest billions in terror tunnels instead of food and development. In the past 20 years, Gaza has received more money than any other group of people in the world. The UN has one agency for all the refugees in the world and a separate one just for the Palestinians. Don't believe me? Check it yourself. The US, the UN, Qatar, They've poured billions into Gaza. And what did Gaza choose? Missiles and tunnels. That's their responsibility. Look at this video. They are firing from a refugee camp in Rafah. If Israel fires back and civilians die, who do you think will be blamed? Hamas uses civilians as human shields. On one hand, they say there is famine in Gaza. On the other hand, look at this video posted by Hamas themselves. Armed men firing from a food warehouse. If Israel responds, the headlines will read, Israel bombed a food warehouse. And here is the best example. Those headlines that said Israel bombed a hospital. Horrible, right? How can I justify that? I will tell you how. Israel didn't bomb a hospital. It bombed Hamas command tunnels located underneath a hospital. Mohammed Sinwar, Hamas leader, was probably killed there. And the name of the hospital? The European Hospital. Could there be a better metaphor for Western hypocrisy? Beneath the European hospital hides a terrorist leader. And when Israel hits him, Israel gets blamed. Maybe Hamas is to blame for using civilian infrastructure as shields? Of course, the hospital knew. They collaborated. Everyone in Gaza collaborates with Hamas. Anyone who doesn't get executed by Hamas. But you won't see that on the BBC. Even the media collaborates. Have you ever seen a journalist in Gaza criticizes Hamas? No such thing. Journalists there repeat Hamas's fake numbers. If Israel says 2 soldiers and 3 civilians were killed, those are the real numbers. Every number coming from Gaza is a lie. Are there innocent children who were killed? Of course, but the main blame lies with Hamas. They raise children on violence. They use them as shields. They teach them that death is better than life. Real change will only come when that changes, when they will stop using children's suffering to attack Israel. I want to thank all my supporters. See you next video. Yalla bye.
كبيرة من البنات والبنين. كان الرد جميل، رد جميل. نحن ننجب هؤلاء بكثرة لندفعهم حتى للموت.